In this tutorial, I'll show you how you can align and distribute art elements in your InDesign layouts. Many times in your Adobe InDesign layouts, you'll need to align art elements such as photos, graphic elements, or copy to ensure that the user focuses on what you want them to focus on. So having certain elements lined up allow the eye to see the information more clearly so that it makes sense to the brain. Make sense? So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can align art elements and distribute them across the space so that your designs look nice and tidy and make sense to the viewer. But first, would you like a free cheat sheet?
Nice.
Head over to grrrl.com to download your free InDesign cheat sheet that will show you all the shortcuts in the program. Just click the link below. Hello, creative! It's your graphics girl of graphicsgirl.com. That's graphics with PH and S, girl with no I and 3 R's. And I'm here with a quick tip to help you design your brand. So I'm going to show you how you can line up your art elements, whether they're copy, photos, or graphical elements, so that your designs look nice and organized. So let's start with the tabula rasa. With a clean slate here, go ahead and give yourself a brand new document with File, New, Document, or Command or Control N. Next, we'll come here to the toolbar just to give ourselves a shape. In this case, we're going to click and hold down to create an ellipse. I'm going to make a circle by holding the Shift key down. I made this red just by changing the color right up here. So now that I have an art element, and I'll go ahead and select it with my Move or Selection tool, believe it or not, it is possible to align elements even when there's only one, when you consider that in the Align panel, you have the ability not only to align and distribute objects, but you can do that to the overall page, margins, or spread if you have more than one page. So here, clearly, I would need to have more than one selection in order to align it to another selection. So to show your Align panel, what you do is you come to Window, Object and Layout, Align. And that will show your Align panel in your workspace. To see how I organize my workspace, click the video right up here. I have only one art element on my page. It happens to be 8.5 by 11, landscape. If I wanted to align this not to the selection, but rather to the overall page, I could choose that, and then it's right up here under Align Objects that I could choose to vertically and horizontally align that art element to the overall page. Now, if you're doing a magazine spread where you have more than one page, you could put this art element in the center of your spread. I'll show that in just a bit. But for right now, let's assume that you want to have more than one art element that you're aligning to each other. Here, in the example that I gave of this catalog, you could say here that I had these 3 text boxes that I wanted to top align to each other. So here I would have to come on back to Align to Selection and then choose Top Align. That is the way I have them currently aligned. So I could go ahead and manually move these out of the way so they're no longer aligned. And now I could select one, shift click the next one, and shift click the other, and then you'll see by choosing Top Align that they would all be top aligned to each other. So coming back to our file that looks currently like this, let's make a copy of this shape by holding the Option key and dragging to create 2 more copies of this shape. I'll go ahead and place them in a way where they are nowhere near either on the horizontal or vertical plane to one another. Next, you can select all with Command or Control A, or you can click in the white area and drag over all 3. So it's right up here in your Align panel that you could choose to, let's say, top align these elements. Command or Control Z to undo that, and here I could left align those elements. Command or Control Z, let's say bottom align these elements. In all of these instances, you can see that we are aligning to selection. That means one another. But what if you wanted to align these elements to one particular object, not just all three? But in this case, I'll Command or Control Z there to undo that. Let's say here that I wanted to top align all of these elements, but make this, the center object, a key object so that it wouldn't align to this top, but rather to the top of this element. So to do that, once again, you would select all three objects, and then here under Align to Key Object, you would select that. Now you'll see that the center one has a blue outline around it, indicating that it's the key object. So when you choose Top Align now, it will top align it to the center object. So if you don't have a key object selected and you have all three chosen now, when you choose Align to Selection and the top align, it would go to the uppermost shape. Command or Control Z to undo that. And similarly, if I were to choose Align to Bottom, it would go to the lowest shape on your page. So the page would be the actual border. What you're seeing here is the artboard is indicated in gray, and the white area is your sheet of paper here. So inside your page are the margins, or the safety area that you would normally want to keep any art elements, but especially copy within, so that it wouldn't get cut off and lends itself to some nice white space around the copy when you're reading it. I'll come on back to my male clothing catalog here that I designed, and you can see that even the page numbers are well within the safety area, that you wouldn't want copy to go all the way to the very edge or crease. Here's an example, by the way, of a spread, meaning it spans over 2 pages. So I'll show you how to create a spread as well at the end of this tutorial. But coming back now to our document where we have these 3 art elements to continue showing you the principles of alignment, let's now discuss how we could align these objects not only just to themselves or to a particular key object, but to the margins or page of it. So here I'm going to select all 3 objects once again and come to my Align To drop down. I'll choose here Align to Margins. Now when I choose Left Align, it's going to align them all up against this left margin. Similarly, Right goes to the right margin because they were in the same vertical space. I'll Command or Control Z. Now when I top align or bottom align, it is to that inside margin indicated here on my screen with a magenta line. All right, so you can do it not only to the margins, but rather the page. If you wanted to align your art elements all the way to the very top of the page now, or bottom of the page, or left, or right, or horizontally center the objects on the page. So you not only can align objects to themselves, to a key object, to the margin or the page, but you can also distribute these objects. Now I'll go ahead and have these objects on my page like so. I can go ahead and select these objects once again, and now this time, instead of coming to Align, I'm going to choose Distribute. And I'm going to choose to distribute these objects vertically among each other by ensuring that Selection is chosen, and now vertically. So what we're showing you here is that these objects now are equally spaced out to each other. Let's show you another example where they're spaced out to each other along the overall page. In this case, once again, selecting all with Command or Control A, and now choosing, let's say, Align to Page. Now when I choose my Distribute Objects you could choose grids and guides and show a document grid here. And when you do that, you can say, okay, I'm going to use these visual grids to line this up. But in my opinion, it's so much easier to use the Align panel versus trying to eyeball it up. You'll have your Smart Guides on as well under View, Guides and Grids, and choose Smart Guides so that you can see these elements. I'll go ahead and turn my grids and guides off for a second by hiding my document grid so there's less clutter there, and I'll go ahead and zoom in on just these three art elements, okay? Now, if I had these elements that I wanted to equally distribute, I would select all three and I would come here ensuring that selection is turned on, and then I would distribute those objects evenly in a vertical fashion. Similarly, if I had this one over here and that one over there and I selected all three, I could choose this one to equally distribute them horizontally. It was subtle, but did you see it? If I have this one here and this one there, and let's say this one all the way over here. Now, when I select these three and equally distribute those objects, now this space is this same exact space. I'll go ahead and choose something like cyan here. Now, this space is equal to this space, meaning you can see that the elements actually are aligning. So I just made a shape there to kind of prove that point. But whether you choose to align or distribute your objects, you can do that to each other or the overall page or margins. So similarly, you can choose to do a key object to distribute your objects based on one. So to do that, you would select all three once again, and this time choosing Align to Key Object, and now you could choose to distribute them. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show you, there are options under Distribute that you may or may not see in your Align panel, and that is you have to come here to the hamburger or options menu at the top and ensure that it says Show Options. And with that showing now, you can see you have some more options just under Distribute Spacing that allow you to actually punch in a certain amount to distribute your objects to. So not only themselves, but actually using a certain dimension to distribute or align those objects. So once again, I'm going to select all three. And then I'm going to come down here under Distribute Spacing and choose to use a certain amount of space. In this case, I'm going to choose 1/4 inch or 0.25. Next, I'm going to say, distribute vertically. And what that's done now is distributed these objects vertically. If I were to create a brand new rectangle here and make it 0.25 by 0.25, by the way, all I did is click down one time. It is showing me that these objects really are, I'm going to go ahead and hold my Shift key to bring it over. You can see now that these objects really are 1/4 inch apart. I'm going to hold my Option and Shift to make a copy of that blue rectangle, and now blue square. And now you can see that these objects are exactly 1/4 inch apart. Okay? I just did that to kind of prove to you that they really were. So you have the option of doing that either vertically or horizontally. Let's say you can see with the Smart Guides on, it's a really helpful way that the elements are already lining up. It's kind of an easy cue for you. But if you don't like to work with your Smart Guides on because it kind of bothers you while you're trying to work, here I'll do this one now vertically. And now once again, if I click down one time to create a 1/4 inch square, It may not look like it, but you can see that these objects are exactly a 1/4 inch apart. I'll go ahead and evenly align those, and you can see now that they are perfectly distributed at 1/4 of an inch. So it's in the Align panel that you can align your objects to themselves, to a key object, to the page, margin, or spread, or distribute those objects. In general, you're probably going to do a combination of the two to ensure that your objects are lined up and then evenly distributed in your layout. So you're probably going to want to do a combination of the two, meaning you would have them aligned as well as evenly distributed in your layout. And as a bonus, as promised, I'm going to show you how you can turn your layout that you already have into a spread. When you are creating a brand new file with Command or Control N, it gives you the option to check off the spread. But here under Document Setup, you could choose to check that off, Facing Pages it's called, right here in your Document Setup dialog box. So now when you choose OK and show your pages, it's down here when you grab your second page, because this would be your cover and then your inside and then the next page, that automatically right there, here's my first page and now here's my second page, it's created a spread. So when we were talking about before that if you had your elements here, I just copied and pasted with Command or Control C and Command and Control V as in Victor, that I could have these elements, in addition to aligning them to a page, I could choose spread. And when I choose that and let's say vertically align it, it put all three in the center of my spread. So here's an example. If I just had one art element and it was fairly large, and I wanted that art element to be in the center of my spread here, why all I would need to do is select it and then choosing spread, make it centered. So now you have no excuse not to have your layouts in alignment. So if you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel.
Okay.
And don't forget, for free marketing, branding, and design resources, head over to graphicsgrrrl.com. That's graphics with PH and S, grrrl with no I and 3 R's. And I'm here to help you design your brand.